Learn German fast with Frau Kohl.
If you're learning German at A1 level and you're still confused about the German sentence structure, this lesson is for you. Welcome. Here you'll learn how to build simple German sentences correctly. Let's look at the goals of the lesson. What should you be able to do by the end of this lesson? You should be able to build simple German sentences, place the verb correctly, ask basic questions in German, and above all, avoid common A1 word order mistakes. At this point, you should focus mainly on communication and not perfection. Now, let us start by understanding what sentence structure means. Sentence structure in simple terms means word order, and understanding the word order will help you to know where the verb goes, know who does the action, know what information comes first, and above all, it will help you to avoid common A1 word order mistakes. The most important rule here is to understand the verb position. What is verb position? Before I look at verb position, let us understand basic sentence pattern. Just like in English, the German sentence structure assumes subject, verb, object structure. For example, ich lerne Deutsch. I am learning German. Ich is the subject. Lerne is the verb. Verb means a doing word. And in this case, it's the conjugated form of the verb lernen, to learn. And Deutsch is the object. Second example, wir trinken Kaffee. We are drinking coffee. Wir is the subject, trinken is the verb, and Kaffee, coffee, is the object. Another example, sie liest ein Buch. She is reading a book. Sie is the subject, liest is the verb conjugated from the verb lesen, to read, and ein Buch is the object, a book. Now, in case you're wondering what conjugation means when I talk of the conjugated form of the verb, there's a lesson that I have covered on conjugation, extensively on conjugation, found on my website. You can go and check it out. Earlier on, I talked about verb position. Before we understand the position of a verb in a sentence, let us first of all understand what can be found in the first position of a sentence. In the first position of a sentence, we can have the subject. And the subject, in most cases, are the personal pronouns, indicating either the first person, second person, or many people. For example, ich is the first person, I. Du is the second person, you. Er, he, sie, she, es, it. For you to understand more about personal pronouns, there's a lesson I covered on personal pronouns extensively on my website. Go and check it out. In the first position, we can also have a time word. Time word is like, it can be a specific time, like 6 Uhr, meaning at 6 o'clock. It can be heute, like here, heute, meaning today. Am Montag, meaning on Monday. Im Januar, meaning in January. And for you to understand more about time words, there's a lesson on numbers, dates, and time I covered extensively on my website. Again, go and check it out. In position 1, we can also have a place. For example, in Berlin. In Berlin. Now, in these sentences, you realize that the verbs appear in the second position of the sentence. Meaning, a verb always stays in the second position. However, there's an exemption, as I'll show you later on in the lesson. What is the verb position in statements? Statements are like the previous sentences I've talked about. Ich lerne Deutsch, that is a statement. Heute lerne ich Deutsch, that is also a statement. In Berlin lerne ich Deutsch, that is also a statement. So, what is the verb position in a statement? In a statement, the verb is always in the second position. And this applies to normal sentences. Something you should note is that position 2 doesn't mean second word of the sentence. It literally means the second idea. Like for example, in this sentence, in Berlin lerne ich Deutsch. In is the first word of the sentence. Berlin is the second word of the sentence. However, Berlin is not considered to be in the second position of the sentence. In Berlin is considered to be an idea, the first idea, and lerne is the second idea. Ich Deutsch is the third idea and goes to the rest of the sentence. Now remember I said that verbs will always be in the second position except for some situations. And one of the situations is questions. In questions, not always will the verb be in the second position. Let's look at an examples. For yes or no questions, the verb goes to the first position, not second position. For W questions, the verb stays in the second position. What are W questions? Questions to do with wo, wer, wann. For you to understand more about questions in German language, check out a lesson that I covered more on asking questions in German language on my website. Examples. Wohnst du hier? This is a yes or no question. As you can see, wohnst is a conjugated form of the verb wohnen, to live. Wohnst du hier? Do you live here? In this case, you'll be required to answer ja oder nein. That's why the verb is in the first position. So this is an exemption where the verb goes to the first position. It doesn't go to the second position. Wo wohnst du? Where do you live? In this case, you have to answer the question with a statement. I live in Nairobi. Ich wohne in Nairobi. Wo wohnst du? The verb stays in the second position. Common mistakes that beginners do. Ich Deutsch lerne instead of ich lerne Deutsch. Heute ich lerne Deutsch. That is direct translation from English. Today I am learning German. Heute ich lerne Deutsch. Instead of heute lerne ich Deutsch. Du lernst Deutsch heute. Are you learning German today? It is supposed to be lernst du heute Deutsch? Lernst du heute Deutsch? Are you learning German today? Many practice. Which sentence do you think is correct? Heute ich trinke Kaffee. Or heute trinke ich Kaffee. Which sentence do you think is correct? Right. The correct answer is B. Heute trinke ich Kaffee. Now you may be wondering why sentence structure is important. It's very important for you to understand sentence structure because it will help you speak more clearly. It will help you ask questions more confidently, and you'll be able to be understood even if you make mistakes like interchanging articles. When you interchange articles but the sentence structure is correct, you'll still be able to be understood. Remember, communication is more important than perfection. You may be wondering, what will I learn next after this? You can go learn about present verbs, personal pronouns like I have mentioned earlier. Also, I have mentioned asking questions in German. Go learn about that. And something else you can also learn about: negation, nicht oder kein. Most importantly, you should know that sentence structure is the foundation, while communication is more important than perfection. Something to put in mind: the verb is always in position 2 except for yes or no questions. Homework. You can do daily practice by writing 3 sentences, saying them out loud. You can change the time or place or the subject. For example, heute lerne ich Deutsch. Morgen lerne ich Deutsch. In that case, you have changed the time. You can also change the subject. Heute lernst du Deutsch. Am Morgen lernen wir Deutsch. Or you can ask, lernen Sie Deutsch? You can also change the verb position to the position 1 to form yes or no questions. If you enjoyed the lesson, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel so that next time you get a notification when I upload a new lesson, and leave a comment. Click the link in the description to access more A1 lessons, practice with A1 exercises, and many more.